You are in the right spot to find out how to make content that resonates with your audience in your voice. Okay, in 5 minutes. Okay, we're going to use three different AI tools. Well, Canva is not really an AI tool, but it has an AI feature. So we're going to use five. It's going to take 5 minutes. We're going to use three tools. Okay, and we are going to come up with a core piece of content. Now, in my mind, you can put out a core piece of content every week. So this, for example, this video for you guys, I would consider that a core piece of content. All right. I'm not here to sell you anything. Although you certainly will see QR codes in case you want to DM me or find out how to work with me, all that stuff's there. But this is like a core piece of content that should help you in your business, regardless of whether we ever work together or not. Okay. So that's a core piece of content. You show up for your audience, you make sure that you're helping them row in the right direction toward their success. And then you invite them to get on a speedboat with you during that content. That's fine. But it's not necessarily the point of the content, right? So the point of the content is to show your audience that you stay in the forefront of the field that they're counting on you to keep them in the forefront of, right? So my audience is you guys, health entrepreneurs, okay? So not your doctors who want to work at Kaiser or a clinic or whatever, but these are everybody from health coaches to nutritionists to MDs and NDs and RNs and NPs and every other alphabet soup after their name who actually want to own their own business, okay? Now, you can imagine health entrepreneurs like yourself, they might not be that excited about staying in the forefront of what's working with marketing and algorithms and AIs and advertising and affiliate marketing and organic marketing. You might count on me to keep you in the forefront of that stuff so that you can stay in the forefront of, okay, what's happening in functional and precision and holistic medicine? What's happening with the modalities, the tools, the testing that's coming out in your arena? Okay. So, you want to show up with at least one form, like what I consider long form content. So this is not your short form, under a minute, like your reels, your TikToks, but I'm talking about one piece of meaty, juicy core content that should keep you in the forefront of your audience's mind as an expert in that particular field. Okay. And it should also serve your audience well, meaning it either helps clarify something that they need to know, it might help them achieve a particular goal or escape a particular pain point. But in my mind, you ought to be doing at least one core piece of content that really serves your audience every week. And then having your social media person or your EA or someone on your team take that one piece of content and sort of distribute it out as short form content, as posts, as articles on your blog, as a piece of content in your Facebook group, that kind of thing. So that way you can keep your eye on the prize of serving your people, healing others, right? And you're just going to show up and do that one long form content. And then your team can take and sort of ratchet that out on all different platforms so that you don't get overwhelmed, splicing and dicing and editing and trying to pick a hook and making sure the call to action is good. I don't necessarily want you to have to do that with all of your time. I don't think it's the highest and best use. The highest and best use is we get a rock star, awesome piece of impactful content from you every week without fail. Okay. Now, given that I know a lot of you are a little camera shy, a lot of you will get anxiety just looking at that blank Google document and you don't know what to say and you don't know what to talk about. I want to show you the hack that I use to create a core piece of content in 5 minutes or less. Okay. Now, when I say 5 minutes or less, I've done this a few times. This is not my first rodeo. Okay. So I'm going to show you a piece of content that I literally created in 5 minutes. Okay. And I'm going to show you exactly which tools I used. There's three of them. Okay. I'm going to show you exactly how much I literally talked. So I spoke into the microphone. I didn't even type. Okay. So the very first piece, the very first tool that we will be using, we will literally just be speaking our idea into the AI tool. And then from there, that's going to give us a content outline. And then we're going to switch AI tools. Okay. Because I have found that as much as I love playing in the, AI world with all these super cool different tools, there are some aspects of each AI tool that sort of outshine the others. Okay. Now, might that change in a week or 2 weeks? Yeah, because we're in the wild, wild west of what's happening in AI. So just keep in mind, subscribe to this channel, right? Make sure that you click the bell so you get notifications. If my favorites in any one of these categories change, then you're going to find out about it. Okay. So let's go ahead and go through. First, we're going to go through the tools that we're going to need. Okay. So just in case you want to follow along. My dream come true today would be if you actually have an idea for a piece of content that you know would really serve your audience and it would speak to their main pain points, which you should be able to help them relieve those pain points. If you have a piece of content that speaks to their pain points and highlights you or something that you do as part of the solution, even if it's just one small step, and then could have a compelling call to action, well, that's a good piece of content. And if I had it all my way, again, dream come true today, you would be able to take the process that I'm showing you today and you would be able to create your outline for your long form content. And then we'll switch to tool number two, and you will actually create the visuals to go along with that piece of content. And then we'll put it into Canva, ostensibly just to go ahead and show it off and let you go ahead and film that piece of content. But in the event that there's any changes that you wanted to make, editing that you wanted to make, then of course you would be able to do that in Canva in the way that I'm going to show you how to do this. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you a piece of content that I created to sort of motivate you in order to, really focus up today and pay attention. So I'm going to go ahead and in another window, I will open my Canva and I just want you to be able to see this, okay? Yeah, you should be able to see this right here. Let me shift screens, okay? So I have a mastermind called Practitioner Accelerator, and it's for health entrepreneurs who are ready to scale their business, trying to get they're all trying to get to at least 83.3K a month or more. That rounds out to $1 million in revenue from the online sales of these health businesses. So that's kind of like the trajectory that we're on. Okay. So in the first few minutes of the call, so yesterday was Monday. On Mondays, I lead a session called Copy Clinic, and that's where the practitioners bring their sales pages, their registration pages, their copy, anything to do with copy, their header on their website, their podcast, their book me on your podcast page, anything, whatever they're working on, they put it in front of me, and we look at it through the lens of, can we get this to convert ever better, right? Because whenever we create something, we don't want to make the mistake of believing, oh, we built that. So let's say you have a group program, we built it, okay, and we built the sales page for it, and now we're done. We're just going to leave it. That would be like having a baby and then not changing its diaper, not feeding it, not singing a little song so it feels consoled and loved and goes to sleep every night and all that good stuff. It would be like just having the baby and not doing anything. Okay. So as soon as we built something in the online space, we need to look at how it's doing, right? So we should see how many, if we use a sales page as an example, if 1,000 people hit that sales page, how many people actually went to the order form and invested in your online program? Or if if 100 people landed on your booking a free consultation call with you or a paid consultation with you, if they landed on that page, how many of them who landed on that page actually went through and booked the call? And the reason that we want to be looking at those things, they're very easy to look at. The pages, wherever we build those pages, we can see how many page visitors we had, and we can see how many people actually took the action we hope they take, right? So we should be building something and then we should be refining it. That's our version of changing the diaper, feeding the baby, loving on the baby so it actually grows into a healthy adult, right? We want our everything we build in the online space to grow to converting like hotcakes, to being an effective mechanism to get curious people to become paid clients. Okay. So on Mondays, that's what we're all doing together. And as I was looking at some people's content in the group, I noticed that they all needed a little bit of a refresher on how to make sure their content was really high converting. So I wanted to put a reminder session together for them. And I wanted this to take no more than, 10, 15 minutes tops of the time at the beginning of our copy clinic session. Why? Because I want to spend that session looking at everyone's copy and giving them the help that they need to make it convert ever better so their numbers are constantly getting better, their profits are getting better, they're serving more people, they have more fulfillment. Okay, so I didn't want to take the whole hour. I just wanted that first 10, 12, maybe 15 minutes tops to be a refresher, and then to assign all of them to go ahead and look at the last 5 pieces of their content and make some changes. Okay. So I knew exactly what I wanted to teach them. I knew what I wanted to put in front of them. Okay. And that clarity needs to come from you. Okay. So you need to see, you need to recognize something. You guys, you could pick anything, right? You could pick a pain point that you saw a patient have. You could pick a desire that someone just reached and talk about how you got that client there. You could talk about something that's changing in your landscape, right? And you need people to know about that. Maybe, a lot of people were leaning towards, I don't know, maybe you speak in the GLP-1 place and they were all about tirzepatide last month. And now they're finding that using the peptide retatrutide is more advantageous. And you might want to bring that piece of information to your people. So you need to know exactly what you want to bring, okay? Rather than letting the AI determine what your content is. So before I get into showing you this, I just want to state the importance of that. Okay. If you're going to AI and being like, this is who I serve and this is what I sell, help me come up with content. Your content is going to be really generic. Okay. But if you recognize as you're serving your audience, as you're serving your people, as you're helping your patients or clients, if you recognize a win, a benefit, a problem, a pain point, something that needs to change, a belief that is wrong, like myth busting kind of things. If you recognize that at all in your day-to-day experience, that is a good a good trigger for you to write down a little note, and that can be the content that you talk about. Okay, my preference when you go to talk to the AI about the content that you want to teach is you're already clear in your head exactly what you want to illuminate your audience about, what you want to educate them about. Okay, now you might not know, what analogy do I want to use, or you might not even have all the research data, and that's completely fine. As you're going to see with my idea for talking to people, which was, hey, I need you guys, I called it hook, line, and sinker, right? So I'll show you the presentation, but I knew what I wanted them to do, and I spoke that directly into the AI, and then that content outline was created. Okay, so I'm going to show you the presentation that I ended up with to motivate you. So let's go ahead, and it's going to be that one. So let me share screen with you so you can see this. Okay, so this one right here. Okay, so this is my Canva. Let me make sure you guys are seeing this. Yeah, you guys are seeing this. Okay, so this is the presentation that AI ended up fully creating for me. Okay, so hook, line, and sinker, the 3-part formula to capture attention and drive action. And that's what I want my practitioners doing. I don't want them just creating content for content's sake. I actually want it to land them clients, right? Because if it doesn't, they're going to get pissed off. Well, they're going to get pissed off at me. They're going to get frustrated at social media. They're going to think that organic content doesn't work. It doesn't help their brand. And that's not true. Okay. And so I just basically told it, and this is like I voiced it in. Okay. I basically wanted to cover the 3 types of hooks that stop the scroll, how to craft strong lines that convert that attention into engagement. And then what I was calling the sinkers, as in hook, line, and sinker, calls to action at the end of that engaging content that actually can help people turn into clients. Hook, line, sinker. You get it. Okay. So I told AI that that's what I wanted to do. And it did a header. It did a title slide for me. It did hey, I'm going to tell them what I'm going to tell them. This is what I'm teaching you guys today. It pulled some helpful stats about why this matters. And then it got into each of the 3 points I wanted to cover. So I needed to refresh with them what we need to do, like for their hooks. They can be copy, visual, or audio hooks. And then I needed to talk about the content that actually can once we've captured the attention, how do we turn that into engagement? And so I gave them my 3-step formula for that. And then I wanted to give them some reminders about calls to action that actually get the job done to turn people into clients, or at the very least start the sell by chat, and then give them reminders about how to move them into a call to action that turns them into a client. Okay. So, and then what do I want every good and every good presentation to end with? Well, a reminder. Okay, now I'm going to put it all together. The hook, line, and sinker framework. And then it's kind of reminding them everything that we covered today. And then information without implementation is not going to make a change in their business. So I also gave them their next action steps. Okay. I didn't do these slides. I didn't like all of these visuals that you're seeing here, these hooks in the background, the pretty purple lighting, all of this. I spoke what I wanted to teach, and this entire presentation deck was created. Okay. So hopefully that will motivate you to focus up and pay attention. So let's go ahead and dive in and get this done. Okay. I want to show you the very first app that we want to use. Now, you guys, if you have a favorite AI tool that's already really educated about your business, you can lean into any tool that you want. I use a lot of them, okay? But I use ChatGPT for one thing, I use Manus for one thing. I'm going to show you GenSpark, okay? So GenSpark is GenSpark, Gen Spark, okay? Like Gen for generation, Spark for spark plug, okay? So genspark.com, okay? Genspark.ai, sorry, not .com, genspark.ai. So I'm going to go ahead and show you my GenSpark so you can see it. And I legit want you to see exactly, let me see. I think this will show you. Yes. So when I'm on GenSpark, because I already have an account, if I click these little two lines right up here, okay, it's going to show me all the projects that I just worked on. So literally, you can see yesterday I came in here and I wrote mastering the hook, line, and sinker process. Okay, so I'm going to scroll way back up to the top of this conversation, and I want you to see everything that I created. Okay, so my promise to you was I just spoke into one tool, and then the results that I got from that one tool, I pulled into tool number two, and we'll get to that tool next. Okay, but here is what I recorded into AI. Okay, now to prove it to you that we can come in under 5 minutes, I'm just going to go ahead and do my timer. Okay, so let me go here and I'm going to do a stopwatch and I'm going to do start. Okay, so all I did was I went ahead. I have a short code on my keyboard. I hit the control, this little arrow up. I hit the control button twice and I can literally just speak into this microphone right here and I don't do any typing. Okay, so all I did was double tap the microphone and I literally read this. So let's see how long it takes. Okay. Help me come up with a simple content outline for the first 15 minutes of our mastermind session in Practitioner Accelerator today. I'd like to call the session hook, line, and sinker. I'd like the session to help them understand that there are three different types of hooks to capture attention, to stop the scroll, and start engagement: copy hooks, visual hooks, and auditory hooks. I also want them to know that strong lines start with the benefit for the content consumer, clearly articulate both the problem and introduce a solution. And the sinker is a badass call to action that elicits a response from their ideal client. Okay. Again, I need to keep this session to the first 15 minutes of the call today. Please outline me for it in preparation to build slides. 43 seconds. Okay. So I just literally spoke into the AI. It took me 43 seconds and 15 tenths or hundredths of a second. Okay. So we're under a minute here. Okay. I want you to see, I want to make sure you guys can see this. Yeah, you can see. Okay. Sometimes I have to bounce back in and make sure that it's screen sharing. Okay. If you guys have questions about this, I want you to stop me. Okay. So please go ahead. I'll make sure that the chat is visible for me when I'm over in GenSpark. So right now I'm looking at the Gen screen with you, so I can't see chat for just a second, but I'll pop right back in there if you have questions. Okay. So 43 seconds total and 15/100ths of a second. Okay. So that's where we're at so far. Look what it did. Okay. It says hook, line, and sinker, 15-minute mastermind session outline. Okay. And it says, here's your slide one title slide: hook, line, and sinker, a 3-part formula to capture attention and drive action. Okay. And then it's even telling me what copy might work for slide number 2. Okay. And then to bring attention to the problem, why this matters. And you can see it did a little bit of research for the average online attention span being 8 seconds. I think that's actually very generous. I think it's less than that. Okay. But it's going to give me all the reasons why this matters. And look, it's going to position. So it's brought attention to the problem, and then it's going to position this conversation as the solution. Okay. That makes sense in terms of a content formula. That makes sense. All right. And then it's going to walk them through all the three different types of hooks that I told it about. It even did the research and gave me some examples of each one. Super helpful, right? And then it has slide 5 for the line. This is the content that we're going to present once we've stopped the scroll and got their attention. Okay. And then slide number 6, the sinker, driving the response. This is about the call to action. Okay. And it even provided some examples for me. All right. And then slide number 7, putting it all together, and it re-encapsulates like everything that we just talked about. Hook reminds them that that means we have to stop the scroll. There's 3 ways to do it. Line, engage with them. This is how we like pull them in if they were a fish. Okay. And then sinker, how do we actually pull them all the way in to become a paying client? Okay. And then it even suggested that I have a final slide that put like action steps in front of them. Okay. And then it even gave me a timing breakdown if I wanted to keep that to 15 minutes. Okay. It gave me some delivery tips. It did all of that. Okay. So basically, I spoke to it for 45 seconds, under a minute, and I got this entire outline. Okay. Now, before I move on and show you how I take this outline, so I'm literally going to copy this outline. Okay. So let me go all the way down. I don't need the timing recap. Okay, it's fine if I had a slide that asked for questions. So basically, I'm just going to take the body of content that it gave me and I'm going to copy that. Okay, I'm going to copy that. Now, before I go paste it into the second AI tool. Now, if I wanted to ask GenSpark to create a slide deck for me, like create slides for this, visuals for this, I totally could. As a matter of fact, I have done that for many, many presentations, and I've not been happy with it. Okay. I'm much more happy with the visuals that I get in an AI tool called Gamma, Gamma. Okay. So we're going to go there next. But before I do, I just want to go ahead and be very transparent about what I carried on in this app and I came back and I did later because we might not have time to circle back into this app. Okay. So basically, after it gave me that outline, I was like, hey, now I want you to come up with an extremely compelling title. And then I told it that I was going to go put the slides in the Gamma app. Okay. And so here it gave me all of these different ideas. It even gave me the one that was recommended. Okay. 5 minutes to clients. Okay. I used that for this conversation today. Okay. And then it has, okay, here we go. So check this out. Okay. It gave me the conversation for this conversation that I'm having today. Okay. So basically I told it like, oh, okay. Actually, after I went and did it in Gamma, I was like, oh, this is a badass thing. I should show you guys how to do this so that you don't struggle through, you don't struggle for hours if you're going to be speaking on stage or if you're going to be doing your YouTube video or your podcast that week. Okay. So I wanted to circle back and say, oh my gosh, I should actually show this how to do it. So I let AI know that. And then it gave me the title for today's session. And then it gave me an outline for what we should cover today. And then it even wrote all the emails for me to invite you guys. Okay. Obviously, I asked it. Okay. And it wrote an email to go out last night, one to go out this morning, and one to go out like tomorrow for anyone who wants to watch the replay. And then those emails are all completely done in a matter of seconds. Okay. So when I say, at that 45-second point, that just counts for making the content itself. So this is, I'm saying we're now 45 seconds in to getting AI support in making the content that we wanted to create. Now, the chances of this content not being in my voice, slim to none, right? Because I was literally talking into the microphone. Even you could notice there that I called it badass CTAs, right? Like other people might not use that language, right? They might say effective CTAs, but the way that I was talking in my own voice is the way that I talk to my audience. It's how I talk to you guys. It's how I talk to my mastermind members. It's how I the voice that I use when I'm writing my book. Like it just is my voice. So the chances of it being some generic bullshit content that I'm not proud of, that doesn't sound like me, that doesn't feel like my vibes or my brand, it's literally non-existent because I was the one who voiced the idea and why I wanted to do it. And so the content just naturally came out as something that I was happy to like summarize and put in front of my people yesterday during the mastermind. Okay? You see it? All right. So I share that because those of you who are leaning fully into AI by just saying, this is my audience. You should have an avatar that you're always letting AI know who do you serve, what do you offer them, and how do you do it. Like if AI knows those things, and if it knows your offer letter, it'll do a way better job of creating content for you. But if you just go in and say, this is who I serve and this is what I sell, help me come up with some content to rotate through, it's going to be very generic because you didn't state the content. Okay. But if you state the problem you want to solve, the pain point you want to end, the desire you want to help them achieve, and how you want to achieve it, and how you think about it. Like I gave it that fishing analogy, which is funny because I'm not even like a fishing person. I'm like an archery person and a yoga person. My son fishes though. So that's actually where I saw his fishing stuff in the backyard. And I thought, oh yeah, that would work. So but that analogy was picked by me. Like I literally told it that that's what I wanted to call the conversation. Okay. So now let's go on to AI tool number 2. Okay. AI tool number 2, again, I had copied. So if we come back over here, you remember in GenSpark, I had copied the outline that it gave me for my discussion. So now I'm going to go into a tool called Gamma. Okay. So to get to Gamma with me, let me share this screen with you. So to get to Gamma, you are going to go to gamma.app. So gamma.app, GAMMA.app. Okay. And literally you can see that I've done this, right? I even see how there's these like dark purple with the kind of pinky, very, they're like AI, but like hyper realistic images. Like that's the style that I've gone with for my AI presentations that I build in Gamma. Okay. But I want to show you how I'm going to repeat how I do this so you can repeat it yourself. Okay. So you can see that presentation that I created is right there from yesterday. But I'm going to go ahead and create a new one because I want you to see exactly how I did it. Okay. So right here up at the top, it says create new. So I'm going to hit create new and it says create with AI. And you can see I have all of these different options. I highly recommend that you play with these, but I'm going to go ahead and use this one because I already have the outline for this content. So you can see right here, it says paste in text, create from notes, an outline, or existing content. That's exactly what I want it to do. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and paste in that entire outline that we just built over in the GenSpark AI tool. Okay. So you can see the whole thing has been pasted in there. And now I want to give you a little bit of pointers on how to really get this right the first time without having to worry about AI injecting a whole bunch of content that you don't want. Because Gamma, I really love Gamma for creating my visuals, but when Gamma goes to create the content for me, I think it can get a little like it's a little wacky with its research editions. It kind of goes all over the place. It can make too many slides with too much copy, and the print on the copy can be too small when there's too much copy. So just like problems that I've experienced with it. So because I wanted to create that right before the live event, right? But right before the live session yesterday, I can choose to generate from notes or outline, turn rough ideas, bullet points, or outlines into beautiful content, summarize a long text or document, or I can choose this bottom one here, preserve this exact text. Okay. If I already love my outline and I don't want it adding a bunch of stuff, I'm going to go ahead and choose preserve this exact text because that's going to prevent me from doing a bunch of editing. Okay. So I'm going to say, so let's say, okay, so how long did it take me to just paste that text in? So paste the text. Actually, I'll do this like legit for you guys, like in real time. So I want to get the timer right. Okay. And I'm going to select this. So we're going to go right here and we'll hit our timer and we'll paste that in and we'll choose this one and we'll do continue to prompt editor. So I'm timing this, you guys, just to make sure we hit our 5 minutes. Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and choose. I'm going to choose Aurora. I like the look of that one. There's beautiful ones. I'm going to choose photorealistic images. If I wanted to add any additional words, I can. Now I'm going to click generate. Stop. Okay. I'm at 1 minute and almost 9 seconds. Okay. I'm done. I could go walk away. I could get my email out for the mastermind. I could do a social media post. I could go get a cup of coffee. I could do anything I want. Okay. And you can see it's building these slides for me. Okay. Now, these might not look like slides in the typical sense. Slides like presentation slides, if you're, in PowerPoint or Pages or something like that, it's going to be 1920 by 1080 is the pixel dimensions on those. And you can see that doesn't exactly look like the right size. We don't have to worry about that. Okay. So you can see hook, line, and sinker, 3-part formula. I'm just making sure it didn't add anything that I really don't agree with. Okay. All of this looks great. Okay, I can see this like purple on purple text. Obviously, that's not readable. So when I get this into Canva, I might be making those changes. But this is great. This is exactly what I wanted. Okay, so now I have another step. Okay, oops, let me get this really quick. Okay, I have another step. What is the next step? Well, I want to have these slides editable in Canva because and maybe you just would be happy with PowerPoint slides, but I'm a Mac girl, so I don't like PowerPoint stuff. But what I can do is I can go ahead and download this. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and download it as Google Slides because Google's universal, right? Whether you're Apple or PC, this will work. Okay. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to hit my timer and I'm going to click this button right here that says share. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Yeah. So you can see right here where it says share. I'm going to click share. I started the timer, by the way. Okay. And I'm going to export and I'm going to choose to export Google Slides. Okay. Those are exported. All right. So now my Google Slides have been exported. Okay. Where do your Google Slides export to? Would be a logical question right now. Okay. So, where your Google Slides export to, okay, it'll click here to view. You can actually see them in your own Google Drive. I will need to stop sharing this screen and start sharing this screen in order to show that to you. So let me just show, if you click them, then you will see them in your own Google Drive. So you can see there's a picture of me right there. Then I know I'm in my business Google Drive. That's the image I use for my business Google Drive. And it's already in here. Okay. But if you were to go into your Google Drive, I just want you to see this too. Okay. So let me stop sharing this screen. Okay. If you go into your Google Drive, so let me come back out here. Okay, I'm gonna delete this one. Okay, so I want you to see this. So if you just went into your Google Drive, hopefully you have an organized Google Drive. I have a very organized Google Drive. You can see my Google Drive always has only my business, me, and then Google AI Studio because anything could just drop in there. Okay, but from when I'm using Google AI Studio. But other than that, I only have 3 folders. Right here outside, you're going to see that all of those presentation slides are in here. Okay, they're completely in here already. So what I'm going to do is file, and let me time this again. Now, you guys, I just thought of this, but I could have just, when I was in Gamma, I could have just exported PowerPoint slides to my download folder. That would have been faster, right? So I'll skip this step. The reason I do it I want mine in Google Drive is because I want my EA to have access to the slides in case anything needs edited or changed or we want to use it or whatever. So I go ahead and make that extra step and put it in Google Drive. Okay. So now we're going to come back in here. Let me make sure you can see these. Okay. So stop sharing. Let's go ahead and share those Google Drives. Okay. So now we're in Google Drive in the slides. So this is our presentation. So I'm going to click start. Okay. We're going to go to file. We're going to choose download. And we're going to do the PowerPoint slides. Okay. Now we're going to open up Canva. So let's go ahead and stop share on this one. Okay. And now we're going to go to Canva and we are going to choose to start a new presentation. So now we're going to go to Canva. So let's show you exactly what you need to do. Make sure you can see this. So now I'm in Canva. And what we're going to do is we're going to choose presentation right here. So now we have a brand new, let me share this tab instead. Let me make sure you can see it. So I just created a brand new presentation. So you can see I've got a brand new presentation here that's editable. And I'm going to just go ahead and say file. And I'm going to import, upload files, and I've got my, let me do my downloads, and I'm gonna import the hook, line, and sinker slides. Okay, so you can see it's filling up over here. That means they're there. Okay, they're coming into Canva. Okay, once those are there, now we're going to say, oops, let me go to uploads. Okay, now we're going to say hook, line, and sinker. Here it is. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click on this and I'm going to choose apply all 8 pages because that's how many pages were there. And then I'm just going to edit this as much as I want. Okay, so for me, I went from a slide. Let me make sure you can see this. Okay, my only issue that I had with these slides were that the titles weren't big enough and the copy wasn't big enough. Okay, so I went ahead and did some editing in this slide to make the headers bigger and the copy bigger. Now, if I wanted to, you guys, I could just grab that copy and drag it like this, and then, this needs to be doubled in like this. Like I could manually move this. Okay. And this is because right now we're at 1 minute and 26 seconds. And this is honestly where I spent the rest of my time. So let me just show you the final version after I edit it. So you don't have to sit there and wait through. So share this tab instead. Okay, so now you can see literally all I did was make this bold and an easier to read color, and I added my logo, and that was it. Okay, so I dragged all of those fonts to be bigger, so no tiny, tiny text that my people couldn't read. Okay, there's a little bit of tiny text, but I was reading that out loud, and then walks them through everything that I wanted to teach them, and then recaps the entire lesson, and then gives them their action steps. Okay, so I let's say that editing, we're just going to give ourselves the benefit of the doubt because in timing oops, so let's go over here. I'm going to show you my watch here. So let's go stop sharing this. Okay. So with 1 minute and 26.85 seconds, so let's call that 1 minute and 27 seconds, we spent 45 seconds talking into GenSpark, a content idea. Okay. And then we grabbed that outline and we pasted it into Gamma, GAMMA.app. Okay. So we started at GenSpark. We talked for 45 seconds. We got the outline. Okay. We copied that outline. We went over to gamma.app, GAMMA.app, and we pasted it in. And then we picked the look, touch, and feel of the slides. So we pasted in the total. We told it just use the outline. Don't go crazy. Don't do extra research. And then we picked the colors that we liked, so the slides were, something that we found tasteful. And then we hit generate and we got the slides. And then we downloaded, the faster way would be download the PowerPoint slides directly from Gamma. Okay, download the PowerPoint slides directly from Gamma. Let me show you how to do that directly there. Okay, so if we go back to Gamma, I just want you to see if you don't need it in Google Drive. I need it in Google Drive because I want my EA to have access to it. Okay, but if we were over here in Gamma, you could see I could have just downloaded the PowerPoint slides, export to PowerPoint, and that would have been in my downloads. And then I could have gone straight over to Canva and created a blank presentation and then it started editing for any text that was a little bit too small. Okay. So assuming we did all of the AI part, so let me stop sharing there. So assuming we did all of the talking into AI and then copying and pasting that outline into GenSpark in 1 minute and 27 seconds, we can spend the remaining, what is that, 3 minutes and 40 something seconds, right? Like editing to make the font bigger or in our brand color and plop our logo on there. And we are good to go in under 5 minutes. Okay. So when I said in 5 minutes, I can create one helpful piece of content using 3 tools, I'm talking about going from GenSpark, where I voice talked the idea, no typing on my part. I just voice talked the idea. Then I asked it to create an outline. I copied and pasted that outline and I went over to Gamma, GAMMA.app. And then once Gamma built the slides, I exported those as PowerPoint slides and I uploaded them into the Canva presentation where I could edit colors, add my logo, change font size, and get the entire content deck done in under 5 minutes. Okay. That is content that is not AI generic. Okay. Because you had the voice discussion with AI about exactly what you wanted to teach and why you wanted to teach it. Okay. And then you got that outline, put it into Gamma, no more stressing over finding the photos, right? I want you to see a few of these, you guys. Just so you get a sense of this, let me show you a presentation. I was on a summit, the Health and Wellness AI Summit with Uli, who's amazing. If you don't follow him, you should follow him also. Okay, I want you to see some of the presentations. Let me see if I get out of that Gamma presentation, and I want you to come back over here and see some others. Yeah, here we go. So how to pull labs to the front of your marketing. This would be a good one for you to see. Okay. This deck, why I want you to see it is because I didn't go this one. I didn't go hunting for these images, right? How to pull labs to the front of your marketing for immediate profit and premium clients. I didn't make any of those images. I didn't make that image. I didn't do any of this. Okay. So, can you imagine how much time I would have wasted looking for different people in Canva, trying to find images, trying to build out any of these little graphics, trying to make sure there were cool little, the purple outlines in the background? Like, I didn't do any of that, you guys. This look from like the inside of a lab. Like, I don't know what inside of a lab looks like. To be honest, I don't even know if it looks like that, but it's fine for the presentation. It was completely fine. Okay. For, futuristic looking practitioner meeting with someone, right? Like all of these things were created by AI. I didn't have to do any of that. Okay. So for me, that is massively time saving. And I'm just going to repeat back those tools for you. So it was GenSpark, where I spoke the idea, the content idea. Okay. I shared what analogy I wanted. I shared why it was a win, all that good stuff. Grab the outline. Okay. Pasted the outline into gamma.app. So GAMMA.app. Okay. And then exported the slides from Gamma as PowerPoint slides and uploaded them into Canva. And then that was the slide deck that I used to teach for the first, 10, 12 minutes of the copy clinic for our practitioner accelerator session yesterday. Okay. So let me know if you have questions about this. I want to make sure that you have my Instagram. So if you have questions about this, DM me your questions, okay? But what I would much rather see than your questions is I would love to see what you created, okay? So if you're able to have a discussion of like, oh, this is going on, this is the problem, sort of the state of the union, this is what's going on, this is my take on the solution for that. And then there's a call to action at the end. If you could just speak that into the AI tool over at genspark.com and then ask it for an outline, a content outline, and then take that outline into Gamma, build the slides. I would love to see what you come up with. Okay. You can even share your preview link in Canva or whatever once you've got it in there. But I would absolutely love to see that instead of you agonizing over writing a piece of content and creating any visuals that were needed as a teaching aid to go along with it, that instead of you spending hours and hours doing that, you literally did it in 5 minutes or less using those 3 tools: GenSpark, Gamma, Canva. GenSpark, Gamma, Canva. Okay. If you have a VA and you want them to be able to have access to those in Google Drive, then of course you can do the extra step like I do and have that stored in Google Drive, but it's completely not necessary. Once you have it in Canva, you could just share that access to that with your EA or your VA in Canva, and you could skip the whole Google Slides thing. Okay. So that is my hack for you getting content in your voice, legit from your mouth, you sharing your sentiments, why this matters to you, your particular way of thinking about it. It's just you kind of shooting the shit verbally with the AI tool, so you don't really have to type anything, and then asking it for an outline to share that with your audience, taking it into Gamma to build the presentations, and then editing, being able to easily edit those in Canva so that you have the slides that you need if you're going to present that via video. All right, that's my hack for you. Now, if you're interested in leaning into AI, I want to tell you that I had my team build you guys a very promotional priced access to what we call the AI Client Attraction Challenge. Okay. Now, if you're interested in pulling people from wherever you're getting their attention now, be it your email list, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Substack, Blue Sky, I don't care, wherever you're garnering attention. Okay. If you want to invite people to solve a very particular problem in something like a paid workshop, you could call it a masterclass if you want, although I think that's just been tied into the whole webinar thing. So I would offer it as a paid interactive workshop. Okay. If you want to do that, that is a wise move, because right now I am 100% convinced and advocating for everyone who's in our mastermind, everyone who's in our lab test funnel program, any of the things that we offer for practitioners, that when they move people from free content on free platforms, please move them with a paid offer. Okay. If you want to offer a free offer, just offer it as a hand raiser, meaning like give it away in your DMs or in your messenger chat or by commenting, right? Give that free thing away that way to jumpstart the conversation with those interested people, and then move them into your CRM by actually making a small sale. Okay. Now, my favorite 3 things for small sales that actually really move high quality prospects into your CRM, into your email list, onto your pages for an initial small fee. Now, why is that important, you guys? Because now we know that we're building an online ecosphere, a community, an email list, a whole bunch of followers. We're building a list of people who are buyers, not just freebie seekers, but they're actually buyers. That means you're actually growing a quality email list and a quality audience of people rather than just quantity. Okay. So when you're moving people from free content on free platforms, bring them into your CRM with a paid offer. Okay. My top 3 favorite paid offers that work really, really well are a book. Okay. And a book is great because it's not expensive. Okay. If people are going to buy your book, what's this going to be? $14.99 on Amazon, maybe? And then once you have your own book funnel open, it's only going to be $9.95 or something like that. And when they buy that book, you're going to give them implementation support that has them see you're a genius, and then they want to enroll with you. Okay. If you want to see my book funnel and see exactly how that works, okay, I initially put my book out on Amazon just to get all the Amazon #1 images and score all of that, And then once I had all those screenshots of getting to #1 on Amazon, okay, which we have a process for that, you guys. It's all about selecting the right categories if you want to end up gathering your screenshots as showing up as #1 in a particular category, okay? So there is a process for that. But then once I did that and grabbed the screenshots I wanted, then I actually built my own book a call funnel, okay? Or not book a call funnel, my own book sale funnel. And that book sale, the book is only $9.95 over there. So it's cheaper than it is on Amazon. It's $14.95 for the like physical copy, right? So, and obviously they're getting the physical copy, but I also started to have my own book a call funnel. And I had a conversation with you guys about this last week, that the ads in the first 24 hours, for every dollar we were paying to Meta, we were earning $4.75. Okay. So that book funnel is how I did that. Okay. So can you see how when I'm bringing people from free content on free platforms online, I would rather bring them into my world for an entry level paid offer, because now I'm only dealing with people who are like serious about their business. If they won't throw down 9.95, they're certainly not going to be the type of person who needs to get funnels from us, needs to get coaching from us, needs support in becoming a $1 million health business in the online space. Okay. So I like filtering for that quality instead of just quantity. Okay. It makes much more sense for my business and for yours too. Okay. So a book is my number one favorite way of doing that. Okay. Now that begs the question, well, what if I don't have a book? Okay. If you do not have a book yet, then consider joining us for Book to Buyer Blueprint. You come to Vegas for 5 days straight. Okay. You actually need to fly in the day before and fly the day after. So you're there 7 days total. And you actually have your book pulled out of you. You will be speaking it. So you don't have to type it. You'll be speaking it in a sequence of little kind of like TED Talks, basically. And we will pull it out of you. So if you want to create your book, you can do that with us. We only host that live event twice a year. It's only 12 people because it takes a lot from me and my team to pull those out of you. But everyone who has attended got their book complete in the time that we were there in Vegas together. And then of all of those authors, every single one who pubbed on Amazon got to number one in their category using our category selection process. So if you're thinking about using a book as your primary way of pulling people from free online content into your world in a way that they actually paid a little bit of money to prove that they are serious about being your patient or your client or your program participant, I invite you to come and join us for that event. Okay. But let's circle back. Okay. Because what we were talking about here is, what are the top 3 ways to do that? Okay. So the top 3 ways to pull people from free content on free platforms over to your CRM. You could give them something free in the middle, but just deliver it via DM or Messenger or whatever to keep your list really clean. But when you bring them over to your platform, your pages, your CRM, okay, and when you bring them over to your pages, let's go ahead and collect name, email, phone number, credit card. Let's have a list of actual buyers. Okay. So my top 3 favorite ways to do that. Number one, a book, because the cost is really low. Okay. If you want to create your book with us, please consider joining us. Come and get it done. Okay. If you want to see what a very profitable book funnel looks like, you are more than welcome to look at mine. Okay. So if you scan that code, you're going to see the exact book funnel that we use. Okay. Again, in our first 24 hours of meta ads, every $1 we were spending, we were earning $4.75. Not bad, right? I'll turn that on and go on vacation and let that keep making money for me all day long. I love it. Okay. Now, what's the second? Okay. The second way that I like to pull people from free content on free platforms over into your world for an entry level price, I like you to do that with your lab test funnel. Okay. So, lab test funnel, I have access to that too. Okay. So if you want to move people from free content on free platforms into your world because they made one small entry level offer, offer an upfront lab. Okay. That whole program, Lab Test Funnel, teaches you how do you do that legally, ethically. Short story is you do it through a signing physician. You're not ordering it on your license. Those are very accessible, easy to find. It explains how to do that. And then you bring them from social media to your lab sales page, and you have a client facing conversation, not a clinical conversation like you would see over if you sent them to your lab. You actually send them to your own lab sales page. And then the time between they ordered the lab and they get the lab, you have that marketing golden hour to become the obvious choice in their minds to solve the problems that you can help them solve. Okay. So book is my number one choice because it's very inexpensive. Lab is my number two choice because it might be a little bit more expensive. Let's say that you're using, I don't know, like a ZRT hormone test. It might cost you about $300, or maybe a SIBO all clear test or something, and you're under $200. So it's not as inexpensive as having a book, which is only going to cost them $9.95 to get a nice paid filtration system for people coming into your world. The lab might cost a little bit more. So that's why it's number two. But the reason that it's okay that it costs more is the data on that test also helps them drive making smart decisions about their health, right? When they see on the test that something's wrong, that something's in need of correcting, well, then that's just more motivation for them to work with you. It's not you telling them, it's their own body telling them through that lab test, something is going on here, something is wrong. And that can be motivation enough for them to come into your world and go ahead and invest in working with you. Okay. So number one is book because it's least expensive. It's the easiest to say yes to. Number two is the lab, takes a little more convincing, a little bit bigger investment, but then the data from that lab helps them see that they need you, and it makes client enrollments infinitely easier. And you guys, if you haven't already got my book yet, this whole book, Get Cash Pay Clients, How Upfront Labs Create a Wildly Profitable Health Business with Less Work, this book is about having a lab test funnel, why you should be doing that, why it's crucial, not just in terms of your profitability, but also in how you teach the algorithms, okay? Because the more you take free people consuming free content on free platforms and you pull them into your own world with paid offers, the more you're teaching the algorithm, oh, this person is looking for people who buy, not people who download free shit all the time. That doesn't really help you very much. It doesn't honestly really help them very much either. If you think about less than 3% of people open these cool things that we're giving people, right? So maybe you give them an ebook or a guide or a checklist. Well, turns out less than 3% of the people actually open and use those. So we're not, having as much difference as we really want to have. Okay. So number one is book because of price point. Number two is lab because the data from the lab helps them make the decision to work with you. My third favorite is a paid workshop. Okay. So you know how to do free webinars. Chances are a lot of you have been doing those. Okay. But if you do a paid workshop, okay, $40, $50, $95, right? But you're helping them solve one very specific problem, okay? So if you think about everything that you ask people to do in order to get results, they start down at the bottom of the mountain, they get to base camp 1, 2, 3, 4. Before you know it, they're at the top of the mountain and they have the results that you're really good at helping people get, okay? So any one of those little base camp jumps to get a specific result would be a great thing to host a workshop about. Does that make sense? And when they actually solve that problem with you on the workshop, well, guess what? Now you look like the obvious choice with whom to do the whole journey up the mountain, not just one little base camp. Okay. So, number one, books. Number two, lab test funnel. Number three, paid workshops. Okay. So, because paid workshops work so well at moving people from that free content environment into your world in a way that they at least have a little bit of the skin in the game, they've paid something. You guys remember, when they pay attention. Okay. And if you just keep giving free stuff, the chances of them just scrolling by and thinking they're just going to consume more free content from you later is very highly likely. Okay. So what I did was I had my team make the AI Client Attraction Challenge course that we did for our Practitioner Accelerator Mastermind members available for you for just $47. Okay. So if you need AI to help you create that online workshop idea, create all the social media promotions and even ads if you do paid traffic, and the emails to promote it and invite people and get them to attend that workshop, right? And even help you craft a sales conversation at the end of that workshop so they ascend into working with you, whatever you're offering next, your private client packages, your online program, your supplement, but whatever it is that you sell, okay? Then you can make that invitation at the end of that workshop, okay? If you do not want to figure that out on your own and you want the Canva templates and the AI prompts and the entire process step by step for hosting any kind of online workshop, okay? Now, the example in that course is doing a 5-day challenge, but you don't have to do a 5-day challenge. You could just do a 1-hour workshop or a half-day workshop or a 2-day event. It doesn't matter. You can pick whatever workshop content idea that you want to put in front of people. And it teaches you exactly how to host it, how to promote it, and how to sell on the back end of it, whatever is the logical next step that they should be investing in from that workshop and start working with you. Okay. Let me answer a question here from Tammy G. She's saying, could this be used to create IG posts? Tammy, you absolutely could use the combination that I gave you of like, go to Gamma and share your idea, okay? But instead of asking it for an outline, you would say, hey, let's say that you wanted Tammy to do it as a carousel post on Instagram, okay? Then you could say, I would like you to create a nine different slides. Like I want you to put this idea across 9 different slides for an Instagram carousel. Okay. And then you could even ask it to make you the images, but I don't love the images that I get from GenSpark. I love the images that I get from Gamma. So then I would take that 9 slide outline and I would move it over to Gamma and I would tell it exactly what size images I was making and I would have it do it there. So could you do that? You absolutely can. But Tammy, let me tell you a little secret here, okay? Before you personally, my friend, are taking your core content ideas and turning it into individual posts, could you see, Tammy, how I would be wise to do that one long form content? So let's use the example of the hook, line, and sinker conversation I was having of like, you have to have really good hooks. You have to pull them in on a strong line, which is the good content in the post. And then you have to sync them into working with you, right? Which is a good call to action. If that was the thing that I wanted to teach that week, I could simply have my EA take that whole outline summary and say, okay, so let's just look at this really. Maybe if we pop back into GenSpark, I just want you to see all the copy that it created. Okay, so before we bounced out of here, I showed you that it also gave me the outline for today's discussion. It also made all of the emails to invite you guys to come join me today, right? So wouldn't it be easy for me to say, let's just do it. Let's just do it together. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, okay, thank you. Next, create 9 slides for a carousel post on Instagram. Okay. Now, why I wouldn't necessarily want you to do this part, honey, is because you could just do the long form content and go film that long form content. And then that long form content, your EA could take the transcript from that or even the outline from that, and it could carry on this conversation in the AI tool for you, thereby maximizing. So I'm going to come back over here. Okay. It looks like it's even going to make us pretty slides. So let's go ahead and see if it does it or not. Okay, but while it's doing this work, is it done? While it's doing this work, I want to come back over here, okay, and make sure you're seeing this. So it's still doing work. We'll come back and look at that in just a second, okay? But let me stop sharing screen. Okay, yeah. So while it's making that, can you see how if you did the one long form piece of content and you filmed that straight to camera, that would give you your long form content from YouTube, okay? YouTube is a great channel to put your content out on because it's a relevance-based platform versus something like an Instagram or a TikTok or almost all of the other ones really, which are recency based. In other words, their search, if you put out the best content on your topic on TikTok or on a reel, the chances of somebody being able to search for that and find it based on the topic is slim to none after 24 or 48 hours. But if people are looking for a specific solution or help with a problem on YouTube and they do that search, well, because the YouTube algorithm is relevance based more than recency based, it's going to pull up any videos that are relevant, which means if you put out the best content on that topic, it's highly likely that when people do a search for that problem or help with that situation, your content is going to come up. So my favorite way, Tammy, would be then you just did the long form content, okay, and then you have someone, because remember, like I have an EA and it costs me $1,500 a month to have an EA in the Philippines who then takes my video. So she'll take this video from today and she'll put the transcript. She'll drop the video into Mac Whisper where she'll get the full transcript, and then she drops that transcript into a prompt stack, and she'll get emails to promote it. She'll get IG posts. She'll get LinkedIn posts. She'll get Facebook posts. She'll get a whole bunch of things from that one piece of content that I did. So can you do it, Tammy? Yes. But my preference would be you focus on doing the meaty, longer one piece of content each week. And then you let somebody help you inexpensively. Okay. You let somebody help you take the one content piece that you made and kick out different slices and dices and pieces of it as IG posts, as TikTok videos, as YouTube shorts, in your LinkedIn page, on your Facebook page, in your Facebook group, so that you only did one thing. You created one video and everything else is happening. In our world, we call that interest compounding. Okay. So, like the magic of compounding interest, you put money in the bank and it can just exponentially grow. Well, we want you to put out one piece of content of interest, and we want that interest compounded on other channels in a way that is delegated by you. Okay. In other words, you showing up to do that one core piece of content, Tammy, is more important than you being the one in the weeds creating the Instagram carousel posts. It's just not a high return on your invested time. Okay. So DM me too if you want access to the amazing EA team that I have. I'm going to put my Instagram here. Okay. So just DM me the word VA and I'll send you the details on how I got mine. Okay. And they're amazing and so affordable. And it took me a long time to circle through and find, and I'm just now getting all the systems in place where I feel like, okay, I can delegate so much more than I was able to do with any of my previous EAs. Okay. All right. Dr. Carrie is just thanking us for the content today. You are so welcome. Carrie, I hope I'm not mispronouncing it. Dr. Barron. We'll call you Dr. Barron. Tammy is saying, thanks. I love the idea about the YouTube searches. Use long form for social media repurposing. Exactly right. Okay. And I'll give you another tip on that, Tammy. I'm using a company. Let me just grab you. Let me see if I can grab you a link for it really quick. I use for doing these live interactive sessions, which as you can see is kind of cool because I can put your questions up there. I can put my DMs, I can put QR codes up here that help you guys. So if you're wanting to host a workshop and I mention that workshop, I can just put the thing right on the page and you guys can use the QR code to go to that page and get whatever discounts or whatever thing I had my team build for you. I absolutely love this platform. Let me grab you a link to it, okay? Because it just added this really new thing. So okay, let's see. That's not it. Okay, just DM me on Instagram and I will make sure to get it for you. It's hard for me to put a link in here because I do everything as a QR code, okay? But I use a software that I absolutely love, and it also makes short form videos for me from this content. And so my EA wouldn't even, or if I was doing it myself, like my EA or I, like it's already spliced and diced based on little nuggets from what we talked about today. And those can be used as reels, as stories, as short form TikTok videos, as YouTube shorts, anything like that. Okay. So it's part and parcel of this whole content delivery system. And in case you don't know, like right now, this video is visible if you're watching on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. It lets me be live on a whole bunch of different platforms at the same time. You can even do it on Instagram, but it takes a whole additional separate computer. So I personally have not gotten to that level of complexity. Okay. So quick recap for today. Okay. If you're going to be creating your content in 5 minutes, you're going to need GenSpark, GenSpark. Okay, .ai, GenSpark. That's my favorite for just speaking into it, right? You're just going to talk. Okay. And then you're going to take the outline and you're going to put it in Gamma to make the slides or graphics. Okay. That's GAMMA.app. So Gamma.app. And then you're going to export the PowerPoint slides and you're going to you're going to import them into Canva, and then you can edit them, change them, whatever, take screenshots and post them in your group. You just have everything in a very editable, easy way. Okay. So that's how I get the content concepts done and out the door in under 5 minutes in a way that is not generic AI generated content, because I told it. I had the conversation about the content that I wanted to teach in real time with AI, as opposed to having it guess what my people might like or take some sort of generic stab in the dark. And then that content doesn't do really very well. In my experience, the more you put out content that is uniquely you, and then AI is just kind of helping you with the articulation and the build out of any graphics that go with it, the better your content's going to perform. Because the more people lean into generic AI content, the more it's literally going to just be whitewashed, right? And what people are looking for is your unique opinion, your unique approach on this, okay? So I love that you are actually chatting with the AI tool in the beginning, right? And then it's turning that into an organized piece of content and it's turning it into the slides, okay? Again, I want you to do at least one long form piece of content every week. Preferably, you release that on YouTube and then you have your EA, embed that in your blog, and then you distribute all of the content on all the different platforms. And then when you have people click back, they're going to click back and land on a page that is yours, right? So a landing page, an order form, the page to book a call with you, right? But I want them landing on your pages, on your online ecosystem. Okay. The only other thing I'll recap for you really quickly, my top 3 favorite ways of moving people from free content on free platforms into your world. Okay. And by your world, I mean they're on your online landing pages where you take money from them, get their information, they book a call with you, those kind of pages. That's your online ecosphere. When you move them from free content on free platforms to your world, please, as we head into 26, teach the algorithm that you're looking for buyers, not just freeloaders who only want free stuff, but they never buy. And the way that you do that is you move them over to your world with what's called like a low ticket offer, an entry level priced offer. We call it a tiny ticket offer. Okay. So this is something that is not expensive, but not compared to the thing that you sell on the back end. So like even a lab test, you guys, let's say that you did a lab test and it was let's call it $250 with your education and resource fee. Well, $250 is a small price to pay as compared to maybe you have a $7,500 package to work with you for 3 months. Okay. Well, $250 as compared to $7,500, that's still an entry level price as compared to your offer that you want to sell people. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about. I want you to have you move people into your world with an introductory, like an entry level priced offer. My favorites are book, lab test, or a paid workshop. Okay. Book, if you want to write your book with us, I've put the QR code up here. Okay. That includes selecting your categories so that you become number 1 on Amazon when you decide to publish. So far, every single person who has graduated and published has become number 1 on their category, myself included. I use the same category process and I got to number 1 on Amazon. Okay. So if you want to write your book with us, that is the QR code for you to be able to join us. The next one is in February 2026. And that one only has 2 seats left. It's always only 12 people. It's a very intimate group. Okay. So if you want to lead with a book, get your book written with us. If you want to lead with labs, if you want to offer people an upfront lab, go ahead. We've already built the funnel, all the AI prompts, all the Canva templates that you would need to go ahead and promote the sale at the top of your marketing funnel, promote the sale of an upfront lab so they see something's going on and are motivated to work with you. Lab test funnel is my second choice. Okay. And third is a paid workshop. Okay. And paid workshop, here is an entire process that we created to use AI to come up with the concept, to promote the workshop itself, and then to deliver all the content on that workshop in such a way that when you get to the end of that workshop, you're inviting them to take the next step with you, make the next investment that makes sense in your current offer ladder in your business. All right. Any questions on any of these? Please reach out to me on Instagram. I'll go ahead and put that one up here too. Okay. Any questions for me, please DM them to me and I will be more than happy to get back to you. Thank you to all of you for spending the time with me today. Let's see. You've got great. I love that too, Tammy. Awesome. Very helpful tools and info. Tammy, you are oh so welcome. All right, you guys, be sure if you are watching this on Instagram, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell so that you get notifications. If there's one thing that I will admit in the health and wellness marketing space, the tools that are becoming favorites in AI are changing because the AI world is just changing so fast. Okay, so I will always be transparent with you and share what's working, what's not working, why I'm using one tool for one thing versus another tool for another thing. I love sharing that with you so you don't have to guess and figure it out and struggle. In this example, I'm sure if you do it yourself, run a test, get the presentation slides from GenSpark and see what you get. I didn't love mine, right? But then the ones over at Gamma, I absolutely love them. I think they're beautiful. So do a little test for yourself and see. But I'll always be transparent and show you, okay, I'm loving this tool for that, this tool for this. So definitely click the subscribe button and hit the bell so you get notified whenever we do videos like this. All right. If you have questions that you need answered, please go ahead and DM me those over on Instagram. And we certainly can arrange to do a session just like this that is interactive to help you get your business going and firing on all cylinders so that you can heal at scale. See